Hi everyone, I am Hisham Med, a full-stack developer, and I will be your teacher who will take you on this journey in which you will discover and dip a little deeper into the world of CSS than CSS3 in the CSS3 Master Series. I believe before you start learning CSS3, you must have a solid foundation of CSS. A lot of people think they know CSS3, but in reality, they only know CSS and a drop of the CSS3 ocean. I mean, they only use CSS and few features of CSS3. I think this is starting to be confusing, so let's make things clear. What is CSS and what is CSS3? So let's start off with CSS. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets, created by Hakun Yum Lai. I really have no idea how it's pronounced. It was created in 1994. It's one of the core technologies for building websites and applications. So at this moment, it is very rare to find a website which does not use CSS. So I want to introduce to you CSS and show you how it fits into the bigger picture of web development. It is the technology that developers use to control the appearance of markup languages like HTML. With CSS, you can change the font, the text color, add backgrounds, change the layouts, and more. So here is an example of a website that I created without CSS. And this is the same website with CSS. Of course, I'm adding a little bit of JavaScript to add some life and interaction to it. So I think that you can see the difference with CSS and with no CSS. CSS grew like any other programming language. Note that CSS is not a programming language, it is a style sheet language. While a programming language controls the behavior like JavaScript or Java or Python, CSS controls the presentation and it is not a programming language. So this is a side note. So let's get back to our discussion. We first had CSS1, then CSS2 came out, which builds on CSS1. It had new features they have added into it, to the class selectors for links, for example, more control on the layouts and the layers and more. Then CSS3 came out, and with it, the W3, which maintains CSS with a group called CSS Working Group, these folks had a new approach of maintaining and adding new features to CSS. In other words, what's known as CSS3 now is really just a loose collection of different modules. So here are the new CSS3 modules. So you have selectors, box model, backgrounds, text effects, animations, 2D and 3D animations, etc. In the CSS3 Master Series, you will learn everything about CSS to CSS3. I mean, you will learn even what experienced web developers don't know. But before we go to CSS3, we have to start with CSS and build on solid foundations for the next courses in the CSS3 Master Series. And as they say, a long journey starts with a single step. And this course is our first step we take to master CSS3.